Okay, so these are a few new terms, maybe parish core team. That's you at individual tables. There'll eventually be a cohort core team with the 3 or 4 parishes you're with. So let's say you're in a cohort with 4 parishes, that'd be 20 people as part of a group to do that next round of study. And then these 5 models. So let's see if I have this correctly. Yes. So now I'd like to just kind of flesh out a bit what are the models? Because it's critical that you know that. So if you turn beyond the yellow page, the next page, numbered page 1, which is in white, actually pages 1, 2, and 3 describe 5 models. So there's a total of 5 models, and your suggestion with the other parishes might be one model or a combination. Like some parishes, some dioceses, elsewhere there might be a merger of 2 parishes here and 2 parishes here, and then a partnership between them, or a linkage of parishes. So let me try and define some terms. Model 1 is called linked parishes. Are any of you in a linkage relationship now? Okay, good. So then at least you might know that a linked parish means one pastor or pastoral administrator with 2 or more parishes. They're distinct parishes in their own right. Canon law allows there to either be one pastoral council, if that's a decision, or 2 separate ones that could actually meet together. But canon law requires a separate finance council. So in either case, you can see, welcome. That's good, that's good. I won't focus on you too much. But so distinct canonical entities work toward either combining parish council meetings or having one parish council, separate finance council, do many cooperative things together. So that's linked parishes, model 1. At the bottom of that page is model 2. It's partnership parishes. Parishes might be in partnership with each other. The idea of partnership that I often think about is it's got to be a substantive partnership. It's not something like, well, we'll do a pancake breakfast every other month or something like that. It's talking about maybe sharing staff, sharing programs, sharing training sessions. So rather than 4 parishes do a training for Eucharistic ministers, they get together as partners and there's one training that enriches everybody. Or a training for council or commission leadership, there's one training. Or sometimes people in parishes say, you know, if you have a youth minister and we can't afford each of us to have a youth, but if we ever went together on a regional youth ministry program, we could have a great program. Or recently I was with a parish where they had a wonderful bereavement ministry program. And another parish had a wonderful stewardship program. And they shared their gifts with each other in partnership, and they both became stronger. So partnership is so full that if you turn the page, on page 3, there's a whole nother description of partnership. And I'll just highlight the words in bold toward the bottom. So I'm on page 3 in the white for a moment. So why would you do partnership? One is to conserve resources. So how will we provide needed resources, but not waste time, not waste energy? Be able to conserve energy. We can fill in the gaps. What kinds of ministry could we do in partnership that we can't do alone? Or new initiatives. What new projects could we do because we have more people to help us do them? So the second model is partnership. First model, linkage. Second model, partnership. The third model is about a merging of parishes. So merged parishes, as it says there, happens when 2 or more parishes come together to form a new parish community. Let me just pause about that for a minute and describe that, because that's done in different ways, and some are very destructive, and some are marvelously creative. So just briefly, drawing from some other dioceses that we have worked in, let's say 4 parishes might be talking about merging together. One way to do it is they pick, let's call them parishes A, B, C, and D. And let's say the site of the new parish will be at D. So one way to do it is that parish A, B, and C close. They have closing liturgies, and then the folks at parish D say, hey, come join us. Would you be kind of excited with that invitation if you were in parish A, B, and C? The experience all around the country is not so excited, because that kind of process creates winners and losers. One parish wins, other parishes lose. Every parish is special. I know how I feel about my parish, and I just project that onto you. So a different way of doing it, the way that we would suggest for any groups that will be merging here, is that A, B, and C, and D all have closing liturgies. They all recognize that their history as individual parishes is ending. They may be going to this site called D, but as it says up there, they will have a new name given to the parish, which may be a brand new name or a combination of former names. There may just be one worship site in an area, or there might be an additional worship site or two. Let me just tell one story about this, because I don't want this to be really theoretical. I'm thinking of a town in Pennsylvania, in a diocese we worked in. There were 4 parishes who talked long and hard about what should happen, and they actually suggested a merger among the 4 of them. They didn't start the process thinking that, but as they studied their numbers, as they studied the geographic reality, as they thought about the number of priests available, as they thought about the future of their parishes, they thought, we could be much stronger if we ever pooled all of our resources. So they did, and they are now a parish called Divine Mercy. But what they did to get to that place is really remarkable. I don't have the time to tell you all of it. Let me just tell you 2 things. First, the pastor at the site where the new parish is now had this really, I think, very honest insight. He said, you know, I think our parish, this is the site of the new place, are going to change every bit as much, if not more, because of this experience. But I don't think the folks in my community realize that right now. So I got a lot of work to do. So he started with his own community. Then he went to the other communities and said, for this really to be a new parish, for you to feel good energy about coming to this new parish, creating this new parish, what do you need? And one parish said, well, you see our altar? We made that altar some years ago. If that altar could be in what you say is going to be our new church, it might feel familiar to us. And another parish talked about the stained glass windows and where they came from, and what do you think if we could do something like that? Another parish said their statuary, their Mary and Joseph and whatever else, really had a particular meaning to them, and if that could be. Well, 2 things about this that are, I just think, worth at least thinking about. One is they created banners. They decided to have banners for the 4 parishes. They prepared them first for the closing liturgy, and they had the names of the 4 parishes and their beginning date as a parish and the ending date as a parish for all 4. And those banners first were brought into each of the closing liturgies of all 4 parishes. And at the opening liturgy of the new community, they led the procession in. And then there was a banner with the new name, Divine Mercy, and the names of the former parishes on the banner. They wanted to honor the history of each of the parishes as they created something new. But the other thing, and the pastor actually started crying when he told the story. Again, he's the pastor at the site where the new parish is going to be. He said, we decided we needed to make real the change that was happening for us. It might be more obvious in the other places where doors were going to close. So what they did was, at the closing liturgy of the site, it used to be called St. Joseph, now called Divine Mercy. During the liturgy, they had ladders brought in, and they took down their Joseph and Mary statues. And they had, as the pastor said, an elder and a younger carry out those statues that had hung in that church for years and years in procession through the church. And he said there wasn't a dry eye in the church as people kind of acknowledged a transition for them. And then over time, the altar from one of the churches, the stained glass windows, the statuary, and the energy of the new community, because the former communities were honored, continues to this day to be, I think, a real beacon of light for people. So I don't know for you how many of you for whom this option is the most realistic. What I'm asking you to do is to become aware of all 5 options: linkage, partnership, this one being merger, and the other 2 we'll talk about in a moment, so that when you do your thinking about the future of the church in this part of the diocese, you can really do that considering all 5 options and what makes the most sense. Let me do 2 more and then I'll pause to see if you have any questions.